Pro detailers don't want you to know this, but applying a ceramic coating does not cost thousands of dollars. Today, I'm going to show you step by step how to apply professional grade ceramic coating to your car while saving you time and money. I'm going to show you all the steps necessary to get your car ready for a ceramic coating, like a car wash, the clay bar decontamination, paint corrections, and how to apply a hand ceramic by yourself. We already went and washed this vehicle behind us with Clean Slate Auto Wash Shampoo. And if you guys didn't know, Clean Slate is a surface cleansing shampoo that is a car wash soap, but it also strips away waxes, sealants, and glazes sitting on your paintwork. Now, the reason that that's crucial whenever you go into ceramic coating your car is simply because whenever you apply the ceramic coating, you want to make sure that the surface is bare. You don't want to have any kind of waxes, sealants, or glazes sitting on there because that's going to interfere with the bond. So real quick, we're just going to do an inspection on the paint. So we just finished washing it, and we did an incredible job washing it. But one thing I do want to point out is all the oxidation, water spots, and scratches and swirls that this paint has. So stuff like this, believe it or not, is not just going to come off with a regular wash. It's not, no matter how much you scrub or whatever you use chemicals wise, nothing's going to remove this besides a good polish. So that's why we're doing all this work today, and that's why we're going to go ahead and kick it off with the clay bar. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw on a pair of gloves. I'm going to grab our OG clay bar and our clay luber. So if you guys have ever felt your paint after washing it and you notice that rough feeling, that's all embedded contamination that normally happens whenever you get a lot of rail dust, dirt and grime that sits on your car for an extended period of time, and all that stuff basically makes its way into the pores of your clear coat and just digs itself in there, and you need something sticky that's going to remove it, like our clay bar. Now, to use the clay bar, what we recommend doing is taking it off the packaging, taking off the plastic sleeves, and then what you want to do here is cut off a little chunk. It's stuck. There we go. So you're going to cut off a small chunk. Never use the entire thing because the clay, it's basically, you would treat it like it as gum. So if you drop it on the floor, you wouldn't drop gum on the floor, pick it back up, and continue chewing it, right? I hope not. So what we're going to do now is we're going to knead the clay bar into a small little patty. Nothing too huge, nothing too thin. You want to make sure that you have enough of it. That way it can cover at least 3 or 4 of your fingers, like so. Little pinky, help me. Get me in on the action. So now that you have your clay bar kneaded into a small little patty, all you have to do now is make sure that you lubricate the surface very well. I'll say this and I'll say this again. Don't be stingy with the lube. So especially in this case, with clay luber, you want to make sure that you lubricate the surface very thoroughly, because what can end up happening is if you're not using enough lubrication, you can actually, especially when you're doing the vertical panels, it can get stuck to the surface and it'll fall, meaning you got to throw it away. Or if you're not using enough lubrication, you can have marring, which basically looks like you sanded the paint with sandpaper. So if you don't want that effect on your paint, just go ahead, make sure that you use enough lubrication. That way you don't get a dry rub and you don't damage the paintwork. Now, one thing you'll notice when you start clay barring is you'll feel it kind of rough and it may feel like you're scratching the paint. Don't worry guys, you're not scratching the paint. Whenever you clay bar, you want to use the weight of your hand to clay. You don't want to add any kind of excess pressure. You don't want to do any of this motion right here because you're definitely going to mar the paint. So that's why we recommend just light strokes, left, right, up and down. Easy does it. All right, so I just finished doing this small section, as you can see. Now I'm going to show you guys my clay bar. So I'm going to bring you guys in real close, and you can see all that brown stuff. That's all embedded contamination. So just think about this. You washed your car, you dried it. It looks great, right? And only until you see this, you realize your car was actually never clean in the first place. So with the clay bar, that's going to allow you to get deeper into the paint, get rid of more embedded grime, and really just extract all that stuff from your paint, giving you that glass smooth feel all over again. You want to see the before and after? Look, before and after. After you're done clay barring a small section, simply grab a microfiber towel and wipe off the residue of the clay lubricant. And then once you're done wiping off the residue, simply go ahead and repeat the process all throughout the rest of your car. And fun fact, clay bars can actually be used on more than just your paintwork. You can use it on anything that's smooth and glossy like paint, glass, chrome, wheels, headlights, tailpipes, and you name it. This is going to work on all those different kinds of surfaces. So now that we're done decontaminating the paintwork, now we can go ahead and do some polishing. Now when it comes to polishing, you may hear terms like paint correction, buffing, compounding. All those fine words are beautiful words for just saying removing scratches. When I say paint correction, just think removing scratches. So right here I have our Torque X polisher. This is a dual action polisher. Just kind of keep it simple. you have two different classes of polisher. You have a rotary and a dual action. This one spins on two axes. So this one spins and oscillates. A rotary only spins in one direction. Here at the Chemical Guys Detail Garage, we like to use the phrase of a DA is kind of like a butter knife versus a rotary is more like a scalpel. So a rotary is going to cut deeper, cut harder, cut faster, versus a dual action is going to be a little bit more soft on the paint, more forgiving, especially if this is like your first time doing it, or maybe you're a professional already and know how to use them, even better. A dual action is the way to go for all levels of detailing, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or pro, and that's why we're using it today. So the next product that we're going to pair it with is our orange Hexlogic cutting pad here. So whenever it comes to these pads, ours have a hook and loop system, which is just a fancy way of saying Velcro. All you have to do is simply put the pad on the backing plate and center it as best as possible. Once you have it centered, go ahead and just give it a nice little smack. Make sure it's well put onto the backing plate. And now we can go ahead and grab our compound. And right here we have our C4 Clear Cut Correction Compound. Fun fact, it's called C4 because it's 4 C's in a row. Clear Cut Correction Compound. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. That was 5. Bam, 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 bam. 4. All right, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your C4 compound and you're gonna apply 5 drops onto the pad here. Now the reason that we use 5 drops is because this is a 5-inch pad, and that's just a little pro tip for you guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, baby. So we're gonna put our bottle of compound down. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a bottle of polishing pad conditioner. Now this is great to use, especially if you're new to polishing, because this is gonna ensure that your pads are cool as you're doing some high performance cutting. Now when it comes to cutting, you are gonna be on the surface for a while. You're gonna be removing scratches. In other words, you're gonna be basically cutting through that layer of clear coat where those scratches are and revealing a fresh coat. So as you can imagine, this is gonna generate heat. And by using pad conditioner, all you have to do is simply go ahead and give it a light little spritz. Oh. So the pad conditioner is just gonna ensure that the pad doesn't create any kind of excess heat, which can lead to the product kind of clumping up and dusting off, or the material of the pad falling apart. So that's why it's crucial to use pad conditioner. But other than that, we can go ahead and start using this on the vehicle. So whenever you begin, what we recommend doing is blotting it out in a small 2x2 section. So I try to like graph this out as best as possible, like so. Now, whenever you're doing polishing or cutting or buffing, whatever it is that you're doing, you always want to work in a small section at a time. So this right here for me is going to be considered a 2x2 section. Now, whenever you turn on the machine, you want to make sure that you're on the lowest speed setting. Now, the reason for that is because if you have it on the high speed setting, you turn it on, all this compound is just going to fling all over your clothes. So by doing this, you're going to have a slow start, and that way it doesn't just fling all over the place. Now, whenever you turn it on, you're going to turn it on right now. And then on speed setting 1, you're just gonna spread it out just a little bit more, because as you can see, right now it's just kind of blotchy on the surface, but right now what we're looking for is for an even coating on the surface before we actually begin working it in on a higher speed setting. So I'm gonna turn it on to speed setting 1 real quick, and I'll show you guys how fast this will actually take you. That's it. All right, so as you can see, this process should take you no longer than like 10 seconds. And like I said, this right here is just to ensure that you have the product as even as possible on the surface. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it back onto the surface, and we're gonna turn the machine up to a higher speed setting. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and put it on 4, and then you'll see me as I start working it in. I might turn it up to speed setting 6 for the highest cut possible. But what I'm looking for here is I'm gonna do a crosshatch motion up, right, left, and down. And I'm gonna do that until the product becomes clear. Now that you're done working in the compound, now you want to go ahead and grab a fresh microfiber towel and wipe off the residue of C4 compound. Now right away, I will tell you guys this right here. This thing has much more clarity, much more shine, and we actually cut through that layer of oxidation as well as the water spots on the surface. So I'll go ahead and bring you guys in for a closer look right now. So as you can see right here, you see all the water spots and oxidation versus as we make our way to the side that we just hit with the C4 compound, you can see that there's much more clarity, much more shine. You don't notice those water spots anymore, and the oxidation is fully removed. And just keep this in mind, that was just with one pass of C4 compound. The results are great, but we're looking for perfection here because we are applying a professional grade ceramic coating that we want to preserve our paint in. So we're going to go ahead and hit it with the polish, but before I do that, let me just make my way over there, grab my machine pads and polish, and I'll show you guys how to do that as well. So now that we're done wiping off the compound, we made our way back to our little station here. Now we're going to go ahead and take off the orange cutting pad. Just rip that thing right off. And now we're going to replace it with our white polishing pad, which as you can see is already kind of stained with some P4 polish from before, but that's not going to stop us from getting some great results. So same thing, go ahead and put that pad onto the backing plate and give it a good smack. And now you can grab your bottle of P4 polish. And fun fact, P4 polish, precision paint perfection polish, those are your 4 Ps right there. And you're going to use this product literally the exact same way. Apply 5 small drops onto the pad itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, overshot it, 5. And with this one, you don't necessarily have to use pad conditioner because when you polish, you're not really doing too much heavy cutting. Right now, you're basically looking for refining. But if you do have the pad conditioner and you still want to just give it a light spritz, so be it. It doesn't hurt you. It's just only going to help you. So now we're going to make our way back to the vehicle. And we're going to repeat the exact same process of blotting it out onto the surface. And then we're going to turn it on to speed setting 1. Just even it out and then turn it up to a higher speed setting to fully work it in. So that's what I'm going to do right now, and then I'll be right back to show you guys the final results. So we just finished working on the polish. As you guys saw, the polish is actually much faster to do than the compound itself, just because, like I said, you're not really cutting here, you're just refining the surface. So right now you're basically just bringing out the shine. So if you get great results with just using the compound and you don't feel like following up with the polish, by all means, do whatever you want to do. But if you do want the utmost clarity and shine possible before you apply your ceramic coating, then definitely hit it up with some polish to get the best shine possible. So now that we're done wiping off the residue of the polish, now I'm going to pull out my handy dandy ultra bright LED inspection light and show you guys the results of the paintwork. Now right now you can actually see the full sparkle and shine of the metallic flake in the paint versus the right side over here, which we haven't done yet, where you can still see all the water spots, all the oxidation, all the fine scratches and swirls, and really, this is not doing your paint the justice. So just imagine, if you were to apply a ceramic coating on a surface that looks like this, you're basically locking in all that stuff underneath the ceramic coating for years to come. So if you're going to be applying a ceramic coating like we're going to be doing today, you want to make sure that your paint is in as pristine condition as possible. I'm going to continue polishing out the rest of the hood before we begin to ceramic coating. Ooh, love that sound. It's like macaroni. Now we spread. All right, so I just finished polishing out the entire hood. Right now I'm actually just taking the time to wipe off the polishing residue. And then once we're done removing this polish, now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next step, which is finally the part that you guys have been waiting for, which is how to ceramic coat your car. So just give me a few more moments and then I promise you I'll show you guys how to do it. Just give me a few moments, I'll show you how to do it. The viewers are gonna laugh at me. They're laughing at me. They're like, ha ha ha, he messed up, what a loser. So right before we apply the ceramic coating, first thing that you're gonna wanna do is actually do an IPA wipe. In this case, we actually have our Wipeout surface cleanser. Now, this is very crucial prior to applying the ceramic coating, simply because whenever you're using a compound, whenever you're using a polish, or maybe if you're not using gloves and you have your body oils from your hands touching the paint, all that stuff can interfere with the bond of the ceramic coating. So this actually has alcohol in it, and it's very easy to use. All you have to do is literally just spray a light coat onto the whole hood. And then in this case, just simply grab a fresh microfiber towel and wipe off the residue. Now this right here is going to remove any kind of oil sitting on the surface. So if you have still remnants of wax, of glaze, of sealant, or anything like that on the surface, you'll be able to see right here. And another cool thing about this product is that if you're using a compound or a polish that has fillers, this is actually going to remove any kind of fillers, letting you know the actual condition of your paint. Because believe it or not, out on the market, there's a lot of products out there that have oils and fillers in them, which actually help kind of work the product in a little bit better. But when it comes to applying a professional grade ceramic coating, you want to make sure that there's absolutely none of that stuff left in your paint, because it's going to interfere with the bond and it's not going to last very long. Now that we've done that, let's apply our ceramic coating. So right here, I actually have our Carbon Force ceramic coating. Now this right here is a ceramic protective paint coating system. Now the cool thing about this is that it's sold as a kit. So as soon as you open it up, you get the provided microsuede applicators and of course, the beautiful sauce, the glaze of nature. So this right here is our Carbon Force ceramic coating. This right here is easily going to provide intense shine and durable ceramic protection for up to 5 years on your paint, glass, chrome, wheels, you name it. This can be applied to any kind of smooth, glossy surface. Now, in order to use this product, the first thing, I probably should have mentioned this sooner, any kind of towels, any kind of washmans that you're using, see that tag? Take it off. You want to make sure to take that off because that could potentially scratch the surface, but other than that, just go ahead and take it off and now you're ready to go. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to open up the cap. So as you can see, the spout is very small, and that's just to limit you from the overall amount of product that you're going to be using. So now that we have this and this ready to go, the way I like to apply the coating, there's different ways. Professionals out there do this all very differently. But the way I like to do it is I get the applicator, I put it on top of the spout like this, and then I flip the whole thing over, and then I just allow a couple lines of product onto the surface of the applicator. So what I like to do is I like to get the surface nice and coated. Not too much to the point where you're just wasting the product, but just have enough of it on there that way you can get an even coat. You guys seen this? Cool? All right. And then once you're done like that, go ahead and put the cap back on because look, I'm gonna tell you this, I made the mistake of putting this on the floor and then I went to go apply it and then I kicked it over and I had to run to my nearest detail garage store to get another bottle because once you spill that, it's done. Now that we have the Carbon Force on the applicator, now we can begin applying it. But before you go ahead and just start applying it in a circular motion, the way that you want to apply this is in an even crosshatch motion with little to no overlap. So what I mean by that is, I'll show you right here. I'm going to go down on the surface like so, and always make sure you're working a small 2x2 section. And then in this case, I'm going to go to the side, and then I'm not going to do an overlap. I'm just going to go and cover an entirely, completely bare surface that doesn't have any coating at all. So as you can see, I have two lines right there, cover this area very nicely. Now I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to go back one more time, go over, and come back up. And then once you do that once, then you can go ahead and do that again in the opposite direction to ensure that you have an even coat. Now the cool thing about Carbon Force is that this right here is a ceramic coating that's designed to harden on your vehicle's paintwork. So this right here, think of it as a sacrificial clear coat that goes on top of your paint. So now that you have applied an even coat, what I recommend doing is let that sit from anywhere from about 30 seconds and up to a minute. We got visitors. All right. Ready? So it's been about 30 seconds. Now we're gonna grab a fresh microfiber towel, and I cannot stress this enough. Make sure that you're using brand new towels, because the last thing that you wanna worry about is using a towel that's contaminated with something and that's gonna scratch up the paint. So always make sure you use a fresh brand new towel and simply go ahead and wipe this off the surface. And this right here is actually extremely easy to wipe off, especially when you give it about 30 seconds for it to cure on the surface. And as you can see, it wipes off evenly, very nicely, with no residue left behind. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue finishing off the rest of the vehicle. And like I said, work in small sections at a time, 2x2 areas. Don't get too greedy trying to do the entire surface, because remember, this product is intended to harden on the surface, and you don't want it to harden on the surface because it's gonna make it extremely painful to remove it. It's gonna be almost impossible to remove. So make sure that you guys work in small sections at a time. And just for reference, if you guys do ever get into a situation where the ceramic coating hardens on the paint, just know that just polishing it out will take it right off. Don't worry. Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing the rest of the hood, and then we'll go ahead and show you guys the final results, and we'll wrap it up there. Now that we're done applying carbon force to the vehicle, now what I recommend doing is this. Now, keep in mind, since this product is designed to harden, you are gonna have to toss out your microfiber towel and the microfluid applicator. Now, before throwing away that microfiber towel, use it for one more thing, and that's this. Wipe off the residual ceramic coating that's on the tip of the bottle. That way it doesn't harden, because what can end up happening is if you leave exposed liquid on the surface or in the threads of the bottle, it's gonna harden, it's gonna crystallize, and the next time that you pour it out, there could be a possibility that you also have some of the hardened particles land on your new microfluid applicator. So just clean it out as thoroughly as possible, and then put the cap back on it, and you should be good to go. But other than that, you're basically all done professionally applying a ceramic coating to your vehicle with carbon force ceramic coating. As you saw, the process of applying the ceramic coating is not the hard part. The difficult part is getting to that point where you can actually apply it. So having to spend the time to wash the car, clay the car, polish the car to perfection, that's what all the detailers are gonna charge you thousands of dollars for, not to apply this stuff. Because as you guys saw, applying the carbon force was probably about the easiest thing that we've shown on today's video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give us a huge like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and comment down below if you guys learned something new on today's video. As always, my name is Joey, this is Chemical Guys. We'll see you next time.
Little Pinky, help me! Get me in on the action!